Welcome back. Now for what's trending in true crime. An OnlyFans fetish encounter ends with a murder charge. Michaela Rylaarsdam, a mother of 3 and an OnlyFans model, is the accused. She's accused of killing a male client of hers during one of his sessions. She went by the name Ashley Sincow, and she spelled Ashley A-S-S-H-L-E-Y. That was her name on OnlyFans, and police in California say that she fatally suffocated a male client who hired her to engage in some fetish acts. The alleged crime happened on camera as well. The deceased is Michael Dale. He asphyxiated, police say, after asking Rylaarsdam to wrap him up in Saran wrap, covering him like a mummy. He also requested to be bound by duct tape and have women's boots glued to his feet. This is according to court documents. He also had a plastic bag over his head. Now, the plastic wrappings were left in place for a total of 8 minutes time while the OnlyFans model was busy recording something else. She was on her phone, apparently, police say, and not paying attention. Police acknowledged that she did call 911 and told officers that it was her first time doing BDSM. Law enforcement says that there's no evidence that Dale ever requested that she put a bag over his head. The OnlyFans model is now charged with second-degree murder, and she's pleaded not guilty. So our question this morning, are the charges fair, or is she being overcharged? Let's bring back in attorney Tommy Pope and attorney Mario Gallucci, and welcome in private investigator Manuel Gomez. Wow, this case is a doozy. Apparently, this client wanted to be wrapped up like a mummy. It went very bad. Is murder appropriate here for a charge? Manuel, would you start us off, please, with your thoughts?
Well, good morning, and I think that murder is not appropriate for the fact that she was recording the matter, and if she wanted to commit murder, she wouldn't be recording it. That's one. Second, there is a law in New York, and it is in other states, called the Good Samaritan law, which actually protects a person when calling 911 when they're performing emergency medical help on a person from being charged with murder. Now, I think on this case, and I know it varies in every different state, what the parameters are for that law, but I think this would be relative in this case. For the fact is, again, this was a fetish. Unfortunately, this happens all the time in New York. People die from sexual acts like this all the time, especially one of the most famous actors, David Carradine, died from the same thing. I don't think she should be charged with second-degree murder, if anything, at a minimum, manslaughter.
Manuel, thank you for your thoughts. Yeah, this case certainly has everybody talking. I have some additional details I want to share here. This is from, yeah, I guess this is the details of, oh, I think we went through this already. I'm sorry. I think we went through this. We already read it. I apologize. I thought I had something additional to share. I do. One additional detail. He wanted adhesive poured into his eyes, apparently, while this was happening, to seal his eyes shut. Okay, that is one additional thing. Tommy Pope, let me go to you next, please. Second-degree murder, not first degree is the charge here. What do you think, appropriate or inappropriate on the facts?
You know, again, to me, it's about the definition. I learned as a young prosecutor one thing: you charge whatever the highest possible you think the jury would consider, because in a certain situation like this, often they're going to compromise anyway. I remember charging a guy what exactly I thought he was guilty of, and of course, the jury stepped it down one more notch. Had I charged what he could have been guilty of, they'd have probably found it. But in South Carolina, it's probably some type of manslaughter. Involuntary manslaughter is actually the reckless disregard of the safety of others. And I was just brainstorming while we were talking. It almost even, you could look at the assisted suicide laws. I know that wasn't the design, but, you know, somebody helping somebody or facilitating the loss of their life. And so, you know, it may be that they're charging the highest possible and possibility of working something out. Now, to me, it is interesting. The first thing I was thinking, what did they do with the body? What did they do? But she called 911 and came clean. I think a jury's going to be hard-pressed to convict her of murder, especially when they see she's been paid to do all these strange things, and when you just added gluing your eyes shut, I just think they're going to have a difficult time.
A great insight. Tommy, thank you for that. Mario Gallucci, last but not least on this question with the charges, your thoughts, is murder too appropriate?
So Tommy's right. I'm a former prosecutor. When you indict something and you charge them, you charge the highest crime possible that you think a jury, that you could get a conviction on. And it leaves you wiggle room to negotiate. I mean, everything is plea bargained. In California, they do have an involuntary manslaughter law, which is a combination of both reckless or careless conduct. And in this case, that may be more appropriate. And by the way, the sentence on involuntary manslaughter in California, I think, is a maximum of 4 years, where murder, you could end up in prison for life. So do I think it's overcharged? Yeah, but the prosecutor, I think, is doing what they think is appropriate in the case and charging what they believe would be the top count. Is it going to end that way? If it went to trial, I doubt it, but I think this is a case that'll probably be resolved prior to trial.
Yeah, great points. And Mario, little known fact about you that you were a prosecutor. I should have thought, I always say the best criminal defense attorneys have first been prosecutors. Thank you for sharing that little nugget. All right, let's talk about the other aspect of this. Tommy, you hit on this, that she was being paid, right? So this is a paid transaction, I suppose you could call it. Michaela Rylaarsdam ran a stripping business, and she ran the OnlyFans page as well with her husband. He was all part of these business endeavors. And on her social media, she proudly shows off her husband and her 3 kids. The OnlyFans model's public persona is very different to the online presence where she markets herself as a seasoned sex worker.
This is the year of business. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, and we get that. I've never felt that everybody was meant to be a stripper forever. I know that this is something where you get in and you get out. You need people in your corner to help you grow. I did, and so I know what that means for our girls. I know what that means for our guys.
All right, now police say that the victim in this case paid Rylaarsdam $11,000 to do this at his home, this BDSM session. And so we're wondering, with respect to Ms. Rylaarsdam's husband, her business partner, does he have any liability or responsibility in any way in all of this? I'm going to go around the horn the other way this time. Mario, I'll start with you, please.
Well, although this is not probably your typical marital relationship, I don't see how he has any responsibility for the death in this case. I mean, he basically books his wife to do these appearances and engage in these activities, but you know, he wasn't there. At least I don't think he was there at the time that this occurred. So how would he know that this man was in any danger? So I don't think he has any responsibility criminally to this action.
That's a great point. Probably no criminal liability, which makes me think, what about civil liability? Tommy Pope, you're the perfect person to answer that question, being a civil lawyer as well. What do you think?
It's ironic, Mario just teed it up for me. That's that former prosecutor thing going. But
I know.
I think that, I was thinking, oftentimes, I mean, I've got a case I'm trying in a month or so, and basically it's a dump truck driver, but we're also looking at the company he worked for and like a failure to train. And as macabre as that sounds with this OnlyFans stuff, if it was truly a business there, and from a civil standpoint, there's a possibility that they are brought in and respondeat superior, let the superior reply that he could be equally responsible. It's even stranger that they're married. It would almost make more sense if it was truly a separate business partner. But I think definitely there's the civil potential there. I was thinking, Julia, it's really going to come down, if it gets to the courtroom, of what the jury thinks about the individuals. I mean, it is so bizarre in so many levels. Do they think that, the victim not deserved it, but is, kind of, you're taking your own risk, or, do they blame her? There's plenty of judgment morally to go around with this whole crowd.
Right. Oh, Tommy, you got me thinking. That's an excellent point. Jury selection. Like, what would that be like when the attorneys would have to ask these prospective jurors if they're familiar with BDSM, if they have a strong disapproval of it for some reason, if there's a bias, you know? So, yeah, this case is so sad and would be incredibly uncomfortable if it goes. Manuel Gomez, would you take us home here? In terms of the husband, what would you want to know about him? If you could talk to him, any thoughts you have on the investigation, whether there's anything to explore with regards to him?
Well, I would think that he is liable for the fact that he's marketing his wife and that he's not properly training her to perform these acts in a safe manner. So I think that's where that company will be liable in this case, and he should be held accountable as well.
Mm-hmm. Civilly, you're saying, right? Yeah, I bet
Yes.
there's going to be a civil lawsuit. Yeah, great points you've all made with this one. Gosh, this is awful.